Hi friends, welcome to my channel Cricket Fantasy Stats. In this video we are going to discuss about choosing the correct players for New Zealand versus Ireland match. This will be a crucial match for both the teams as their hope for semi-final is still alive. New Zealand being favourites for this match will look to win this game and finish at the tabletop. On the other hand, Ireland, who defeated the England, will continue to win this game and stay alive in the semi-final race. Let's start with wicketkeeper category. The other thing to be discussed is this match is going to be played at Adelaide Oval, where the pitch favors the batters and pacers. So there won't be much assistance to the spinners, and pacers loves to dominate in the initial overs, and then it will be a run feast venue. This venue has a short square boundaries, whereas the long on, long off and straight boundaries are very big. Hence the batters will love to target the shorter square boundaries to score runs. Looking at the wicketkeeper category, Devon Conway will be a default pick in this match. His form is looking good and he loves to score runs against Ireland. He must be a must pick in your team and can be considered as a captaincy choice. Lord Tucker looked good in the last match, but his head-to-head record against New Zealand is very poor, so you can avoid him in your teams. Finn Allen. An interesting fact about Finn Allen is he loves to score runs at the batting venues. This being a batting venue, he can dominate against Ireland, especially when New Zealand is chasing. He can be picked in your fantasy teams and he will fetch you good points. Remember, the other side of Finn Allen is his matchups against Joshua Little is very poor. Joshua Little has struck Finn Allen thrice and he will continue to tread Finn Allen. In the batting section, Glenn Phillips. Remember, Glenn Phillips is in very good form in this World Cup. Also, in addition to his form, his head-to-head record is averaging around 52. He has a tremendous average against Ireland in both the innings. He can be considered as a captaincy choice in your team. For risk takers, you can make Glenn Phillips as a captain, especially in your teams in this match. Kane Williamson, his record is looking good and he needs to be in your fantasy teams. Paul Sterling. Paul Sterling has a very good record against New Zealand, and this venue helps Sterling to score more runs. Do not drop Sterling in your fantasy teams. He will be your trump card pick. So Paul Sterling will be your trump card pick in this match, and don't drop him in your fantasy teams. Andrew Balberney, you can avoid him as his record is very poor. Harry Tector, remember when Ireland is batting first, you can pick Tector in your team. His record while batting first is looking good and can score runs against New Zealand. So pick him in your teams when Ireland is batting first. Dockrell you can avoid, Daryl Mitchell you can avoid in your teams. In all-rounder section, Mitchell Santner. Mitchell Santner doesn't have a very good record against Ireland, but when New Zealand is bowling second, his record is looking good. So consider him in your teams when New Zealand is bowling second. Curtis Camphor, he is a must pick in your fantasy teams. His head-to-head record is looking good. His current form is looking good. And he has been a vital player for Ireland with both the bat and the ball. Don't drop him in your teams. He can be considered as a Grand League captaincy choice. So Curtis Camphor should be in your fantasy teams in both the innings. Garrett Delaney can be avoided. Jimmy Neesham can also be avoided. Looking at the bowling section, my first pick would be Joshua Little. Joshua Little has a very good head-to-head record of 8 wickets in 3 matches against New Zealand. He is a must pick in your fantasy teams in both the innings and can be considered as a Grand League captaincy choice. The next pick in the bowling section would be Lockie Ferguson. His record is also looking good against Ireland, and he has taken 5 wickets in 2 matches. So Lockie Ferguson is a must pick in both the innings in your fantasy teams. Remember, Ferguson's record against Ireland is looking good while New Zealand bowls second. Can try him as a Grand League captaincy choice when New Zealand is bowling second. Look at his Shodi. His selection percentage is very low, and he will be your trump card pick in this match. His head-to-head record is looking good with 6 wickets in 3 matches, and he should be a must pick in your fantasy teams in both the innings. Don't avoid his Shodi in your teams. He is a must pick in your fantasy teams, and he can be considered as a Grand League captaincy choice when New Zealand bowls second. Mark Adair is a good pick when Ireland is bowling first because his record is looking good against New Zealand while bowling first. He is expected to bowl at death as well and can take wickets. Mark Adair needs to be in your fantasy teams when Ireland is bowling first. So now look at Trent Bolt. Trent Bolt nowadays is not bowling at death. In the initial power play overs, he is bowling 3 overs in the power play. So Trent Bolt current form is looking good, but this being a batting pitch, Bolt won't get much assistance in this pitch. So when New Zealand is bowling first, he is a must pick in your fantasy teams, and for risk takers, you can drop Trent Bolt when New Zealand is bowling second. Similarly, Tim Southee is having a good record when New Zealand is bowling first and can be dropped when New Zealand bowls second. So now looking at the captaincy choices, Devon Conway would be a default captaincy choice, and Glenn Phillips is a differential captaincy option because his head-to-head record is looking good and his form is looking good. And the other option is Joshua Little when Ireland is bowling first, and Lockie Ferguson can be considered as a vice captain choice when New Zealand is bowling second. I hope this preview helps you to create the best fantasy teams and win big. Please do like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you, friends.